The first event we're going to look at is the Grand Clash 2023 being held in Canada. And this is actually quite exciting because not only is it the largest event of the week, it's also the largest event Canada's ever had, with 146 players playing at this event. The event was organised by Alex, and I'm going to hopefully get this right, Thibodeau. Alex Thibodeau with like 146 players, which is really, really exciting. It's being held here at this lovely castle-like convention hall in the middle of a racetrack, which is very, very cool. Being held in French Canada, in Quebec, I'm almost certain. Here's a picture of the hall, which is pretty stunning. Well done to the organisers on organising a wicked event here. And thank you very much to Carl for taking a picture of this. Carl's currently not able to play, I think, because his lips are swollen from the lip filler. Now, in the 5-0 bracket, with an event that's so big, you got many people with 5 O's, which is awesome. Yeah, and we've got 4 of those. We've got Alex Boucher of Borin's Penguins, Levan Shivani from Booty Hammer, Thomas Ling from Tough Crowd, and then Oliver Gandouet from Le Bon. I think I've said that right, to be honest. So we're going to look at those lists right now. The first list we're going to look at from is Alexis Boucher. He was running Sylvaneth and Gnarlroot. He was running Drycha Hammerdreth and a Warsong Revenant. Now, this is not uncommon, although Drycha is a little bit uncommon. We don't often see Drycha, but the Warsong Revenant is something we see all the time, especially because it's got the ability to do its War Scroll spell through trees using the Spellsinger ability. That's an AoE Mortal Wound damage spell. Think of it very much like either the Teclis spell or like Lord Croak's spell. Being able to do it through a tree is really good, and you can affect lots of units in range of that. Now, it's normally combined with something like a Celestin Prime from Stormcast Eternals because of the additional Mortal Wound. However, very cleverly, he's allied in 3 units of Knight Vexilla. Now, these have got a once per battle ability to do an AoE Mortal Wound point on the board as well, which is a really nice way of kind of doing very heavy range shooting from the back of the board really early. And combining that with the Warsong Revenant, which I think is a fantastic little trick. Also, those AoE Mortal Wounds are going to clear a space in the screen. And this is very good for a Sylvaneth army because he has got the Spirit of Durthu, who is a great combat monster with the artifact, the Greenwood Gladius. He's then got the Spite Swarm... Oh, so good there. He's got the Spite Swarm Hive Endless spell, which adds pluses to your charge. I think it's +2, might be +3. So you can teleport through a tree with the Spirit of Durthu, having blown up a load of stuff, then charges in, kills a unit, strikes and fade, which is the Allegiance ability Sylvaneth have to fight a unit, and then after that immediate activation, teleport away. Then he can just hold objectives with his 3 units of Dryads, and his Tree Revenants can teleport around the board and grab some more. Absolutely fantastic list. Really understands the tempo of a game, how a game works, and being able to apply mortal wounds. So I love that. Fantastic. Our next list that we're going to look at is by Levan. Wonderful human. He has a YouTube channel called Bulldog Hammer, if you want to go check it out. And he was running Gloomspite Gits, and his sub-faction was the King's Gits. He had Loon Boss, Scragrot, and a Dankhold Trog Boss, and they had a Fungoid Cave Shaman. Now, with the Tunnel Master and the Moonface Mommet, the important part there, Tunnel Master, drop in, go grab an objective. Now, he's got a unit of 60 Moonclan Stabbers, and we talked about this a lot on the stream just a minute ago, but all I'm going to say is Moonclan Stabbers absolutely should be seen in the tabletop more. It makes a lot of sense why people run a lot of Squigs. Because of the insane Alpha Strike damage potential from a lot of those units, Hoppers especially, Boingrot Bounders especially. But Moonclan Stabbers at 375 points are incredible, especially when they've got the recursion and healing ability of a Death Army. Lots of wounds can be put back into that unit of Moonclan Stabbers, and they can control objectives from outside of 9 inches, which is very good. And 60 of them is only 375 points. If you add on to the fact that they can be -1 to hit just from Netters, another -1 to hit from the Gobblepalooza, they can have a 5-up ward save from Spore Splatter Fanatics, realizing that you can get 60 wounds of Moonclan Stabbers with -2 to hit and a 5-up ward save makes them very survivable at a very cheap points cost. Then you got a unit of Fellwater Trogoths. Again, there's a lot of attacks that Moonclan Stabbers can have. So, if you can make it so the opponent doesn't have any positives to their save, thanks to the Fellwater Trogoth sick, even better. Rockgut Trogoths, 320 points, 6 of them just slapping people all around. wonderful unit, very strong combat unit, very and also again themselves very survivable. And then there's another unit of Fell Waters, some Spore Splatters, Sneaky Snufflers, Gobblepalooza. So these are all buff pieces for those units. So loads of great characters, loads of strong synergy there, and I would be surprised if we don't see more Moonclan Stabber lists in the future. We've mainly seen Squig lists up till now. So shout out to Levan. Special shout out to Tom Ling, who also went for 5-0 at this event. Tom has only had the opportunity to play Warhammer, I think, for under a year. This might be his first 5-0, so it's really exciting to see him do so well. He joined in, he's based in New York, and was able to play some games with some of the New York fellas like Joe and Noah in the race like last summer. Then he just immediately went to a ton of events with those guys, practiced, got better, played a bunch of different armies, played all sorts of like fun little events, and I got the chance to meet him and hang out with him, and it was really nice to see someone upskill themselves so quickly. It makes sense that his community, the Tough Crowd community, have been a big help to him on a personal level with that, but still makes loads of sense. Like, it's still an amazing journey to start last summer and then be jumping in at your 5-0s as early as the next year. So a massive congratulations to him. He was running Soul Black Gravelords for Icos Dynasty, Radikar, Belladama, Vampire Lord, and a Vampire Lord, and then a Necromancer. This is old book, so I'm just trying to re-remember all the info. But effectively, he's got the ability to add +4 attacks onto some units, and those units he have are 2 units of 40 Deadwalker Zombies. In this version, they're still doing mortals on 6s to hit and piling in from 6 inches. And then a unit of 20 Graveguard, which are going to slap. So a bunch of extra attacks on those is very, very effective, with the Corpse Carts providing the buff in the background there. So you love to see it. Great little list. Radikar, Belladama in there as well. Summoning wolves and doing spells. So excellent list, but not playable anymore. New Soul Black Gravelords already doing well. Then we got Disciples of Tzeentch, Host Duplicitous. You got a Magister, and this was being played by, just to shout out the 5-0 because it's important, by Oliver Gandouet. He was running a Magister, Kairos Fateweaver, and a Gaunt Summoner, and then he was running 20 Pink Horrors and the Soul Screen Bridge. So he's going to have cast with the Destiny Dice the Soul Screen Bridge, teleported over the Pink Horrors of Tzeentch, and given them a 5-up ward save, I imagine, from the Magister. Oh no, he doesn't have... oh, yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got Shield of Fate. Given them a 5-up ward save, teleporting them across the bridge. And then he would have used Destiny Dice to complete an auto charge. So then he would have had 100 wounds. Your enemy would have had 100 wounds on a 5-up ward save that's -1 to hit. That isn't going to be... you can't retreat from, thanks to the sub-faction Host Duplicitous. And at that point, it's a race against time, while your Carrick Acolytes hold objectives, and then your casters try to summon as many more models on the board as possible, and then run through the game. So, fun list with Cogs to reroll casts, and the Demonic Simulacrum for doing some mortal wounds. So just pinned into the back of the board, so it's an early Alpha Strike pin, and it is a 1-drop to do that job. So those are all the 5-0s. Congratulations to everyone at the event. Hope they're nice. At such a massive event, you end up with a huge amount of 4-1s. We do have a draw and 4, Daniel Fortwin, and he was running old Petrifex Elite for Oziark Bone Reapers. And then we're going to go through all of the 4-1s. I don't really have time to go through each one of the lists, and they're all kind of interesting and maybe worth a look at on another day. But we've got John Duncan from Tough Crowd. He was running Sinesh, Gabriel Samson, Mitch Kawa, Edgar Sergus, Anthony Trentinelli, Matthias Crucial, Lou Burgon, Oliver Dempsey, Dominique Derry, Carl Ong, Godfrey Hardy St. Pierre, Kevin Lemieux Gangron. By the way, I think Godfrey was running triple KO frigate, which is pretty fun. Lionel Miranda, Martine Matt, Danik Gagne, Alexander Million, Locke Guassin Delort, Benoit Boutard, and Bob Pisano from Wicked Dicey all went 4-1. Of those, I think 22 4-1s, 6 of them were KO. We had KO with Thunderers. We had KO with Engine Riggers. I'm trying to find the list here. Another KO Thunderer list there. We have another unit of Thunderers here and some Gun Haulers in an Ironclad. We have another amazing KO list with Engine Riggers and 3 frigates. I talked about that already. Another KO list that had some a frigate and some Sky Wardens and Engine Riggers and no Thunderers in that list. So double frigate Endrinriggers and Skywardens. So not only, and then another Kharadron Overlords list did have Thunderers. So while it's not just the Thunderers that are doing really well, there are loads of KO lists that are doing well, but none of those KO lists went 5-0. So it's worth having a discussion about whether or not they paired in a mirror, having that convo, but a lot of Kharadron Overlords doing very, very well. There's a Blades of Khorne list with 4 Skull Cannons. Captain Kiev is in the chat right now. He said, I knew there was a lot of KO. Murder rolls wasn't going to happen. Skull Cannons are decent versus low wound models in a fight. It's just murder moving, blocking everything with hounds and stuff, and continuing to shoot and having Reapers kill stuff. Argath, King of Blades plus Bloodbind, and can pull in the big beast, cancel a ward, and shoot it on a 2+ with Reapers. I had a 14 total drop to the max tithe and get more stuff on the board. Thank you very much for giving us the breakdown there. So 4 Skull Cannons, pretty fun. Love to hear it, and I love to hear that he thought about how that was going to play out in the chat. So that's really fun to see. Well done to you. We've got Slaves to Darkness list, Kabbalist, I did mention Anthony Trentinelli, didn't I? Mitch Kawa, Anthony Trentinelli, Edgar Sergus, yes. Was running Slaves to Darkness. We had lots of Slaves to Darkness doing quite well as well. We had a Slaves to Darkness Kabbalist list with pretty much the things that you'll always see now in Slaves to Darkness list are Chosen, Nurgle Knights, Varangard with Mark of Khorne. You'll also sometimes see the Soul Screen Bridge to get those units over there, the Unmade of Corvus Cabal. I would say that those are the units that you'll see. Chosen, Varangard, Corvus Cabal, the Unmade, and Chaos Knights. And then you're going to see Chaos Sorcerer Lords as well. So that's pretty common. We saw a fun Maggotkin and Nurgle list with a bunch of Plague Drones, which is fun. 1, 2, 3, 4 units of Plague Drones, which is pretty cool. Love to see that. Again, more Slaves to Darkness. All with those same units, those same things in there as well. We did 2 Sinesh lists, which is pretty fun, and the Sinesh list seem to be taking on a shape now. Be'lakor in there as well. I think that's 355 points. Best unit in Age of Sigmar. I'm going to call that all the time. My personal opinion. There's some big super units out there. Be'lakor can shut them down. I think it's a great pick taking Be'lakor. I would take that every time if I get the chance. Blitzbarb Archers, and another Blitzbarb Archers for 55 Blitzbarb Archers and some Blitzbarb Seekers, so just shooting the board off. So another shooting list. KO Skull Cannons, Khorne Skull Cannons, another shooting list. And then we got Hedonites of Sinesh, again, more Blitzbarb Archers, but this time double Chaos Gargants and some Slickblade Seekers, taking an opportunity to use those Slickblade Seekers to use Euphoric Killers to generate a lot of depravity is quite cool. A Gargant listed well, Gatebreakers, 2 Gatebreakers, a Kraken Eater and some Man Crushers. And then you have a Zinch list do well. This one had a unit, this Bob Pisano with a unit of Chaos Chosen in there. Pink Horrors, all in Guild of Summoners. Ogroid, Kairos, and a Magister. Nighthaunt did 4-1. We had a Knight of Shrouds on Ethereal Seed. Reikenor, Guardian Souls, Krulgas Cruciator, 2 Spirit Torments, some Spirit Hosts to protect all of those characters, and some Chain Rasps and some Banshees. So probably going to be doing a lot of heavy lifting with the Spirit Hosts and the characters. Pretty interesting list, actually. And then Deepkin did well. They went 4-1 with an Eidolon Mathlan of the Sea, which somehow is only 70 points cheaper than Croak. An Achillean Thrallmaster, Lotan, and a Soul Render, returning D3+3 each turn into a block of 30 Namati Thralls. There's 10 Namati Thralls, 2 lots of 10 Reavers, and a Leviathan at 460 points. So pretty interesting. Definitely you could deep dive this event in total because it was such a large event. But also don't forget, this is just one of many events from today. So let's go look at the rest of them. Congratulations to everyone in Canada and North America for helping making Canada's largest event. Cool. Our next event is in San Antonio, Texas. The Smash and Bash 2023, and it had 60 players playing at this event. It was being held here in the University of the Incarnate World. And it was also live streamed, and you can go back and watch all of the games on the Weird Knobs with a Z Twitch channel. As you can see here, here's a game from one of the final games, and it looks like our winning list with all of the Rockgut Troggoths is about to make some plays into the middle of the board there. Looks like they're playing the Jaws of Galette, which is pretty fun, and against Ogres, that feels like a good game for them. because they can have a good old fight in the middle. So you can see the list that won was Gloomspite Git's list. Oh, I should just tell you who did it. We had 2 5-0s from this event. We had Christopher Schelling from Harambe's Heroes went 5-0 with a Gloomspite Git's list with loads of trogs, and Brian Lofton with a brand new Khorne army. He's got a Dankhold Trog Boss, who's the General, Scragrot, and a Fungoid Cave Shaman. Then a unit of 9 Rotgut Troggoths, 6 Rotgut Troggoths, 6 Rotgut Troggoths, and 3 Fellwater Troggoths, and a Dankhold, 1 Dankhold Troggoth. Now, the Fellwater can strip saves away, and the Rotguts are -2 rend. So they're just a very strong combat army. They have a 4-up armor save unless they're under the moon, in which case it's a 3-up armor save. They heal at the end of each combat, and they're multi-wound models. They have a 5-up ward save naturally as well. So you can make these very survivable. If you do eventually wipe out a unit of Rotgut Troggoths, they can come back from the Loon Shrine as a half the unit size, rounding up. So those 9 would become a unit of 5. So 320 points worth of healing and bringing back. And then it's just a very strong front-facing combat army with lots of damage and high survivability. Khorne is weirdly a little bit more techie. It's a Blades of Khorne list, and it's using the Bloodlords. It's got Bloodthirster, and its command trait is Firebrand, making it a priest, and it's taking Killer Instinct and Blood Sacrifice. The artifacts is taking an Argath, the King of Blades, which turns off ward saves within 3 inches. Units within 3 inches, not models within 3 inches. Scarbrand is in the list for all of the big damage, and a Realm Gore Ritualist for 100 points can make it so an objective or a terrain feature, everything within 8 inches is +1 to hit. Or everything inside of that area. Every Khorne unit inside that has +1 to hit within 8 inches of that objective or 8 inches of a terrain feature. It's also got Tunnel Master as well, so it could Tunnel Master onto an objective, die, and give up eye for an eye. Or it could just be doing Bronze Flesh, which is +1 save on the unit of 20 Bloodletters, or on the unit of 6 Blood Crushers in there as well. He's also got the Bleeding Icon and the Hex Gorged Skulls, and then 2 units of Flesh Hounds and a Bloodmaster in his army. So a pretty solid frontline combat army that's going to run on objectives and beat you up, which is pretty good. Not sure how it works into shooting. We just talked about that, but definitely has lots of output, which is very good, and good into a combat meta. So congratulations to both of those 2 players. Okay, so now we're going to look at the 4-1s. And we've got a nice little mix of stuff. Congratulations to James West, Marco Hernandez, Randall Brasher, Gavin, love him, Ryan, Joe Carney, Nathan Wood, DJ Jenkins, Nick Swope, for all going 4-1. Great work. We had a bunch of different lists here. We had a Gloomspite Git's list with Jaws of Mork with double Boingrot Bounders, 2 10s. I really like that. Some Squig Herd in there as well. I really like Boingrots. I think they're incredibly points efficient. 280 points for 10 feels like the right kind of level. They do amazing damage at that points value. We had an Ogre's list where all the units were named with some Mournfang pack in here, which again are making waves. We didn't see them at the start of the Ogre book. Now we're seeing them more and more, so shout out to the Mournfang. But obviously your classic Frosthorn, Stonehorn in here, and there are 2 of them. Marathian the Bow Snakes being pushed forward as well. Looks like World's Practice to me. There's some Ogre Moor tribes in here. Not Ogres, sorry, Sons of Behemoth again on a 4-1. That's 2 this week so far. King Brod, 2 War Stompers, and a Gatebreaker. So again, just making waves. Maybe really good in certain mission packs. We had Stormcast Eternals list, Astral Templars, Karazai, Knight Incanter, Castellan Battle Mage, 4 Stormdrake Guard, and some Praetors. Again, those Praetors providing the bodyguard for Karazai to make him that much more scary in a fight. Karazai really becoming a kind of fun little pick for Stormcast Eternals players. They've got a big hammer unit, it's 555 points. 550 points, sorry. But the Praetors at 140, just making them a little bit more survivable, which you love to see. Battle Mage for the additional charge. Still 4 Stormdrake Guard as well for another absolute hammer unit. A Skaven list, Thanquol. He's obviously got himself the Laquan the Soulseeker spell. 2 Warp Lightning Cannons in the list for some long-range threats. Some Clan Rats. And instead of just going for 320s, we've gone for 420s from additional screens. And a Hellpit Abomination of all things. Warlock Engineer, Clawlord, and a Verminal Warbringer with, at this point, the only thing that you can take, Devious Adversary and the Warpstone Charm. Literally the only things that were new in the book. But great work there. There was a Lumineth Realm Lords list from Umetrica. an Alarith, Stone Mage, Archmage, Teclis, and Avlanor, and then it's just Stone Guard. So very much what we saw at the beginning of the Illumineth book. Rune of Petrification, Umbral Spell Portal as well. So you're doing the Technado, you're doing the Mortal Wounds in AoE, and then you have an incredibly solid front line in the Stone Guard and Avlanor. Then we had a Slanesh list again, Blitzbarb Archers all day, only 33 this time. Blitzbarb Seekers, Slickblade Seekers, and 10 Painbringers for a front line, which is quite nice. Contorted Epitome, Sigvald, and Keeper of Secrets. Keeper of Secrets better than I thought when I did the review, specifically because I think people are comboing it with the Euphoric Killer's ability to be able to pile an attack twice. So that means that when you do get a melee unit going off twice, like the Painbringers or the Seekers, then you are going to be getting a ton of depravity, which is going to not only make your army more effective, but also help you with some summoning. And then finally, KO in the new book, double Ironclad. That takes us up to, I think, our 7th 4-1 for KO this week. Arcanaut Company, some Ender Riggers, and then some Navigators. This is all in Barak Urbaz. Shout out to everyone. And again, don't forget, if you want to go watch these games back, they're available on the Weird Knobs Twitch channel. If you want to go check it out, I'll include it in the links below. Our next event is the Sharnik Carnage AoS GT, and it was organised by Big Mike in the chat. There we go, Big Mike in the chat. It had 49 players being played, and it happened here, I think. For podcast listeners, I'm describing just a very nice looking kind of like mall area, which is kind of fun. It happened here. Now, one of the really nice things that Mike had organised... Oh, no. There we go. One of the nice things that Mike had organised is he organised 2 sets of terrain maps for each of the battle plans. I'm showing them now on the screen if you watch this on YouTube as a podcast, just imagine. And then when you rolled off for attacker defender, the defender got to choose which of the terrain maps you got to use, which is a fun little feature. I really like that. Again, I've said big fan of terrain maps. Love this, and this is great. Okay, we had a couple of 5-0s at the event here. In our 5-0 that we're going to talk about is Fabian Barboos and he was running Sylvaneth Heartwood. He had a Warsong Revenant, a Tree Lord Ancient, and an Arch Revenant in his list. So the Arch Rev obviously gives +1 to wound to the Colonel Hunters with Scythes, and there is a unit of 6 of them. This is in the Heartwood sub-faction. Tree Lord Ancient for summoning a spell, doing some trees, doing a little bit of fighting. Warsong Revenant with Spellsinger, doing some AoE mortal wound damage from there, and the Versatile Gem. The Spite Swarm Hive in the list as well for the Yeet and Retreat, or the Strike and Fade. And then finally, a unit of Spite Rider Lancers, or not finally, there were some Dryads and Tree Revenants in there as well. Unit of 6 Spite Rider Lancers doing loads of damage on the charge. I really like Spite Rider Lancers, they're quite good, although you can kind of see why you maybe swap out for the other bugs, specifically because what's really fun and engaging with that is obviously they get to return models back on a 2+, which is good. And then an Aether Wing, a unit of Aether Wings, which, if you're thinking about it, are as good as Terror Wings for Seraphon, because they can be little units that hold objectives. In fact, loads of units can do that role, which fits in there. And then you've got that's it. That's everything on the list. So congratulations to them. In the 4-1 bracket, you've got Christopher Johnson, Walter Brock, Jeremy Houck, Calvin Rary, Josh Bennett, Ryan Ledford, all in the 4-1. Congratulations to all of you. Looking at some of their lists, you got some fun stuff. Soulblight Gravelords, new Soulblight Gravelords in Legion of Blood. Vampires with +1 to cast outside 3 inches, +1 attack inside 3 inches. Vampire and Zombie Dragon with Doom minions up to D3. Enemy units can be hit on 2s with all of the attacks. Cloak of Mr. Shadow, so it's got an unrenderable 3-up save. Neferata with a spell. Her War Scroll spell allows you to pick a unit, and it no longer is affected by negative modifiers to save, but you still get positives. So you can have +1 to your save via Mystic Shield or All Out Defense, which means the unit of 10 Blood Knights are going to have 30 wounds with a 2-up armor save that's unrenderable. A 2-up, basically a ward save, not quite, because mortal wounds will still punch through. There's also 20 Graveguard in this list, some Death Rattle Skeletons, which are... I'm going to stop for a moment. I'm rattling through it. Death Rattle. Skeletons are incredible. Like, there's definitely a skeleton list. They're insane. At the end of each combat phase, you just get to return a number of Death Rattle Skeletons. There's a Death Rattle list that's just Death Rattles, max Death Rattles, and it's insane. Like, definitely worth talking about on another show, but we'll talk about that at another point. But incredible stuff. Probably the best 10 thing screen you can get in the game. Some 5 Black Knights, Vampire Lord, and Neferata. So that's pretty good. Very, very good. Then we've got OCR Bone Reapers, Mortis Praetorians, and this is Arcane and Catacross and Mortis and Bone Shaper. And it's got the artifact, the Artisan's Key. Now, the important part about these, other than Catacross giving +1 hit and +1 save to everyone, Arcane extending the spell ranges and doing great spells. And the Corpse Cart with they also, those 3 allow you to return up to 4 models to a unit of Immortis Guard. Now, that unit of Immortis Guard, they normally a unit of 3. That 400-point unit, you can see that list, is a unit of 6. So that means you can return 20 wounds worth of Immortis Guard each hero phase. Now, that happens on 3 pluses. You've got to roll a 3 up on each one of those to make that happen. But it's crazy. And then you got some Kavalos Death Riders, Morghast Archai, and then he's brought along the Corpse Cart with Balefire Brazier, Vermund's Shamblers, which is a Regiment Renown, and then some Deadwalker Zombies. So what you've got there is you've got the -1 ward save aura, which is going to be very good for the Archai that do great damage and the Immortis Guard that do great damage. Just super, super good. Then you got some Gloomspite Gits, with Gobblepalooza, Sneaky Snufflers, and some Squig Bosses, which is cool. Another Gits list, again, this time we've got some Moonclan Shooters, some Squig Herds, some Gobblepalooza, some Snufflers. We have a Blades of Khorne list with a Bloodthirster of Infected Fury, a Slaughter Priest, Rumgor Ritualist, and then 3 lots of 10 Blood Reavers, some Mighty Skull Crushers with that amazing armor save, like the Immortis Guard, and then that Skull Reaper unit again. Second time we've seen a unit of 10 Skull Reapers on the list. Pretty good. The nice hammer unit in the army when a lot of the rest of the army dies or is quite tanky, weirdly. A Sinesh list, this time with Contorted Epitome, the Mask, Sigvald, and 77 Blissbarb Archers, and then 10 Blissbarb Seekers, doing around 160 shots a turn, which is pretty good. And then a Skaven list. Greyseer, Vermlord Warbringer, again, Devious Adversary, Warpstone Charm. Thankwall, some Storm Vermin in here as well as a unique little bit, and some Warp Lightning Cannons as well. So overall, a nice little mix of units and armies at the event. You love to see it. Some of those new books really making headway. The survivability in some of the new books. Khorne, with its not Blood Crushers, the unit that isn't Blood Crushers. The unit of Mighty Skull Crushers, Immortis Guard, and also Unrendable Blood Knights from Soulblight Gravelords, really giving people pause on how they're possibly going to deal with some of these units in the game. Really interesting to talk about. We'll try and deal with that in another show. Our next event is the West Coast GT, being held in Sweden, and we had 47 players battling it out. The event was won, and our first 5-0 of 2 is Philip Skoglund. Now, Philip was running a Soulblight Gravelords list, and again, it was Legion of Blood, and it was the new book. He had the Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon being a general, and he had the command trait Do Minions. Don't forget, this allows units. You pick D3 units, and they can't be heroes or monsters, and those units you get to hit them on 2s. That simple. They have to be wholly within 6 inches of the general for that to happen. But you just get to hit them on 2s. This is especially good on the Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon itself, because its jaw attack normally hits on 4s. So even if you gave it +1 to hit, it'd be hit on 3s, but pump that down to 2s, and it's far more effective. So wholly within 3 inches of Doom Minions. He's also got the artifact, the Cloak of Mist and Shadows, which makes him ethereal, which means you can't rend him, so he's got a 3-up armor save. So why is this important, Rob? Well, he's also taken 2 more Vampire Lords and Zombie Dragons, and old school people will remember the double ethereal Zombie Dragon, so we're back there again. So those Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragons will also be very effective in close combat, and also will be hitting on 2s, which is amazing. Follow this up. He's also got the Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon has also got the ability to have a 3-up armor save, and when Neferata cast their spell on it, then you're going to be able to make that ethereal as well, but the good ethereal where you only ignore negative modifiers, so you can have a Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon with a 3-up save you can't rend, and a Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon with a 2-up save that you can't rend. And to finish this off, you get a heroic action in Legion of Blood, which means that your Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon can ignore ward saves. when it charges in. Now, only that one Vampire Lord Zombie Dragon. That's pretty good. Neferata's in the list as a wizard and to cast that spell, as I talked about. And 3... That's right, 3 Death Rattle Skeleton units for holding objectives. So just 3 absolute monsters. Oh, also the Hunger I should have talked about. They've got the ability to heal a prodigious amount of wounds when they kill stuff in combat. And guess what? These guys will be killing stuff in combat. Triple VLOS. Now, Constantine Kellis has been running the Skullfiend tribe. He's got Bloodthirster and Infected Fury. Constantine is probably one of the best Khorne players in the whole world. He plays it all the time. Bloodthirster and Infected Fury. Bloodsecrator, Slaughter Priest, Scar Blood Wrath, and the Realm Gore Ritualist. Then he's got 10 Blood Warriors, 10 Blood Reavers, 10 Skull Reapers, and then he's got 2 Skull Cannons in his list as well. Again, those 10 Skull Reapers really proving that they're effective, and a lot of the Khorne players using them. Some Skull Cannons in the list as well. Again, off the back of 4 more Skull Cannons being played, so they seem to be seeing more play. Realm Gore Ritualist seems super crucial, especially with Tunnel Master in this list, some sort of Slaughter Priest, and the Bloodthirster and Infected Fury, again, being made a priest with Firebrand, and again, being given the artifact that allows you to turn off ward saves, so Argrath, the King of Blades, within 3 inches. So, very, very powerful, very good. And super useful. So congratulations to both those 2 players. Okay, so in the 4-1 bracket, we have some more Khorne, and we got a lot of shooting. Let me tell you about it. Mikael Magnusson was running Khorne, and he was in Skullfiend Tribe, as was the last Khorne list we talked about. So it's worth mentioning that any 8 pluses to charge, and you're going to get Strike First effect applied. And the Bloodthirster and Infected Fury gives you a 3d6 charge, so pretty great. This list also had a Bloodthirster of Infected Fury, a Slaughter Priest, a Bloodmaster, a Bloodsecrator, and Scar Blood Wrath. Don't forget he's going to die, come back, die, and live again. Then he's got 10 Blood Warriors, which is a great tank unit, 20 wounds, good armor save, hashtag murder rolls. 2 lots of 10 Blood Reavers, nice for murder rolls. The Strike First only happens on the charge with mortal units. So 10 Skull Reapers again, so very much having Strike First on the charge. 5 Wrathmongers, and then 2 Skull Cannons again. Bleeding Icon and Hex Scourge Skulls. So a very similar list, also going 4-1. Heat Knights to Sinesh, get ready. Pretenders, Contorted Epitome, Lord of Pain, Mask, Be'lakor, 33 Blitzbarb Archers, some Slickblade Seekers, 3 units of 5. And that's by Alexander Zevosky. Then Jonas Redeemer is running Sinesh. Pretenders, Contorted Epitome, Lord of Pain, Mask, Be'lakor, and 55 Blitzbarb Archers, with some Blitzbarb Seekers and Slickblade Seekers. Then Pontus Krontov was running Sinesh in Pretenders, with a Contorted Epitome, a Lord of Pain, a Shard Speaker, and 55 Blitzbarb Archers. 6 Fiends, and some Slickblade Seekers and Blitzbarb Seekers. And then Lennart Lillen Svensson was running Stormcast Eternals, with Celestant Prime, Drakesworn Templar, and then 4 Night Judicators with Gryphounds, 3 units of 5 Liberators, and the Everblaze Comet. So, even more shooting in this here, and that is it for our 4-1s. Really starting to pick up a bit of a theme from this weekend. Prodigious amounts of shooting, whether or not it's coming from KO or it's coming from Sinesh at the moment. However, still Khorne doing really nicely with these new books. Pretty interesting. Our next event is the Trouble at the Mill, being hosted at Leidis Games, and this has got 31 players at it. It was organised by Neil Pritchard, shout out to Neil, and it was organised here in these self-storage units. How do you store yourself? Terrible joke. Okay, so Magic and Nurgle was the winning list, and it was done by, and shout out to, and a special kiss on the lips to consensually, to Simon Burdett. I hope he's doing great, and well done to you. He's got a Magic and Nurgle list in Blessed Suns. He's got a Poxbringer, that's the Herald of Nurgle, Morbidex Twiceborn, Blobe Rotspawn, Lord of Plagues, and he's got 5 Putrid Blight Kings, 5 more Putrid Blight Kings, and then some Rotmire Creed. So the Blight Kings obviously a frontline screen for the Rotmire Creed, who are going to be applying loads of disease points. Blobe and Morbidex Twiceborn are great little fighty characters with the 5-up ward, and then the Lord of Plagues being the general with the overpowering stench. So you won't be able to do command abilities inside the range of it. So if you do go and hit the big front castle of the Blight Kings, you're going to have to battle against the big fighty characters, and also you won't be able to do command abilities, which is cool. yeah, huge fan. Yay for Maggot Kin. Yay for Maggot Kin. Because I feel like they're really struggling at the minute. People turning off wards, all sorts of other stuff happening. No one likes that. So yay for Maggot Kin, and shout out to Simon. Hope you did. Hope you had a nice time. In the 4-1s, we have 3 4-1s. Daniel Bean, Peter Dixon, and Peter Twig. So they were running Nurgle, which had Blow, Be'lakor still best choice, Lord of Afflictions, Orgoth's Demon Spew, and a Poxbringer. And again, some Putrid Blight Kings and some Rotmire Creed, making some defensive front lines. We had a Ogre Tribes list with a Frosthorn Stonehorn, with the classic Rockmane Eldar, Touched by the Everwinter, which makes him a priest, and then a Prayer, Pulverizing Hailstorm, which is pretty much a classic setup at this point. Huskard and Stonehorn, and then which is a little bit more of a unique pick, and then a Slaughtermaster, 20 Noblars as a screen, and then 2 units of Stonehorn Beast Riders, and a Thunder Tusk Beast Rider as well. And then finally, we had a Khorne list from the new Khorne book. Blades of Khorne, we had 2 Bloods of Creators, a Slaughter Priest, 2 Realm Gore Ritualists, so really making an impact now. Slaughter Priest, 20 Blood Warriors, which is pretty crazy. Another 20 Blood Warriors, which is also pretty crazy because that's 40 wounds. A unit of Fleshhounds, and then a unit of Mighty Skull Crushers, which is also pretty nuts. Because that's another bunch of wounds on a high armor save. So that's really interesting being run by Peter Twig. Really like that. Kind of feels counterintuitive to what you might see, but those high armor saves just proving invaluable to these players. So congratulations to all of them. Do not let it be said that I would ever forget someone, because I almost forgot Aidan Barlow, who went 4-1. He took Stormcast Eternals. He had Gardas, a Lord Castellan. Don't forget he took these in Hallowed Knights. So the 5-up ward save from Gardas Steel Soul. The original 5-up ward save guy. Knight Draconis, Master of Magic, and the Arcane Tome. Then a unit Stormdrake Guard, Vanquishers, and Stormdrake Guard again. And then Vanguard Raptors with Long Strike Crossbows. So a unit of 4 Stormdrake Guard and unit 2 Stormdrake Guard. So the classic. Don't forget the Knight Draconis mating the Stormdrake Guard. Shoot twice, baby. There were 28 players at the Age of Sigmar 2023 Warpstone Wars GT, being held in Pennsylvania and organised by the Forge Ringer. But most importantly, it was being held at the Fabricators Forge facility here, which looks like a really sweet little place to go play Warhammer. There's some YouTube videos you can go check out. So if you're anywhere near PA and you want to go, they run really good professional events. From what I've seen, if anyone's got a different opinion, let me know. The event was won by Jeremy Vissier, one of my Warhammer crushes, a phenomenal Warhammer player, with the Blades of Khorne new book, Reapers of Vengeance. He had a Herald Khorne on Bloodthrone, an Exalted Deathbringer, a Bloodmaster, a Realm Gore Ritualist, and a Skull Taker. 2 units of 5 Fleshhounds, and then 20 Bloodletters, and then a Wrath Axe and a Bleeding Icon in his list. He also had 2 units of 3 Blood Crushers, Marjor's Fiends, and 5 Wrathmongers. So Jeremy was running pretty much what we call an MSU, or multiple small units list, with a huge stack of overlapping buffs and synergies from these units and heroes that he's got in the hero section. He also has got a big, more heavy hammer unit in his 20 Bloodletters. There's just lots to go through in this list because of the overlap and synergy. So I won't go to it in massive detail. It's worth a deep dive. But very interesting list played by, and this is always important, one of the better players in the whole world. So shout out to Jeremy. In the 4-1 section, we have a stacked set of players. Rob Shine from Cobra Kai Gaming, Ben Kloss from Wicked Dicey, the current LVO champion and 5 Friends Not 5-0 superstar, Juan Noah Singh. What a wonderful person. Seth Havey in 4-1, and then Bill Souza in 4-1. But if that's not enough for you, you've got Mike Vaginos on the 3-2 bracket, Tom Guan in the 3-2 bracket. Yeah, you've got some Corey in the 3-2 bracket, some absolute superstars. What were they all playing? Well, we got a big war list with Gobsprak, Uruk Megaboss, Uruk War Chanter, Snatcher Boss, and Uruk War Chanter as well here. A Wurgog Prophet, and then Gut Rippers, and then an Uruk Gorgrunters and Beast Skewer Killbows, 2 of them in fact, in a big war list being run by Rob, one of the few people in the world running them around, which is pretty impressive. He said he stared 41 wounds into a reinforced block of bloodletters, a new Wargog record. Congratulations. Then we've got a Khorne list with Scarbrand, a Bloodthirster and Infected Fury. Again, don't forget, with that 3d6 charge. Bloodthirster and Sense of Rage. A Rumgor Ritualist and a Slaughter Priest. Again, Tunnel Master on the Rumgor Ritualist being taken all the time. 3 units of Flesh Hounds, some Mighty Skull Crushers, and then the Unmaiden Corvus Cabal. We've got a Noah's list, which is funny because this is what I've said earlier in the video. King's Git, Squig Boss, Scragrot, Fungoid, Cave Shaman, and then 20 Moonclan Stabbers, 15 Boingrot Bounders twice, and then another Moonclan Stabber unit. So 2 screens and 2 slap units. You love to see it. Sneaky Snufflers and Gobblepaloozas, and then Spore Splatter Fanatics. Absolutely massive fan of that list. And then we've got 2 Beast of Chaos lists. One's All Herd with a Doom Ball, Beast Lord, Great Bray Shaman, and then 6 Bulgor, 3 Bulgor, some Gore, Ungor Raiders, Best of Gore, and a Gorgon. And then the other version of this list, being run by Bill, is Doom Ball, Great Bray Shaman twice, Ungor, 9 Bulgor, 6 Bulgor, Chaos Gargan, and a Herdstone, and then the Ungor Raiders, 2 units of them. 3 units of Ungor Raiders, which is really nice. It's not 8, but it'll do. So an absolutely stacked event, full of legends, running very solid and very interesting lists. You love to see it. Congratulations. Going quite far in the world now. We're going over to Valleycon in New Zealand. We had 26 players battling it out in Wellington. Here at the Ferguson Hut. There you can see it right here. Battling it out. So kia ora to all my brothers and sisters over there who are listening to this. It was organised by Nicholas Jebson. Shout out to him. He was running the 2 players that did really well were, with 4 and a draw, were Sean Bates, love to Big Sean, and Lee Wilmot. Sean was running also Khorne. Kapai. Well done. Thank you very much. Kapai to these boys. Sean Bates was running Khorne, and he was running Bloodlords. Bloodthirster and Infected Fury featuring, and same command trait, Firebrand, same artifact, Agrath the King of Blades. Scarbrand, Rumgor Ritualist, Herald of Khorne on Bloodthrone, Bloodsecrator, and Bloodmaster, Herald of Khorne. 30 Bloodletters, 10 Blood Reavers, 10 more Blood Reavers, and 10 more Blood Reavers in his list. So a bunch of murder rolls, a massive brick of Bloodletters, Bloodmaster, Bloodsecrator, Herald of Khorne. Don't forget you got a lot of healing, especially in Bloodlords, into that unit of Bloodletters. So they just keep adding loads of Bloodletters back into them. They've got 2 wounds each now. So pretty solid unit in there. So well done to Sean. And then in second place, Lee Wilmot with Sylvaneth, but they were both 4 in a draw. He had Warsong Rev, Tree Lord Ancient, Arch Rev, Colonel Hunters with Scythes, Colonel Hunters with Bows, 3 Revenant Seekers, and they're going to be healing into either the Scythes or Great Bows. 5 Tree Revs and a unit of Shadow Warriors is a cheeky side pick, and the Spike Swarm Hive for the additional pluses to charge, so you can teleport through a tree and get pluses to charge and then strike and fade out of there. That Warsong Revenant is literally clutch in this book. Absolutely clutch in this book, so pretty good to see. In the 4-1 bracket, Sam Smith and Nick Stoob both running Gloomspike Gits lists with Fellwater Troggoths, Rock Guts, Squig Herd in one list, Squig Boss and Dankold Trog Boss. And the other version of this list had Scragrot, Loon Boss, Squig Boss with Nasher Squig, some Boygrot Bounders, and some Squig Herds. So just, again, lots of output and damage from these units with lots of healing back into them. So great work to all of those. And congratulations to everyone in New Zealand. I hope you had a great weekend. Our next event was the Rum Rumble. Free rum all weekend at the TSN Arena, organised by me. A great TO. Me. We had 16 cuties playing at the event, which was really fun, here in Nottingham in the USA. Our 5-0 was Mr. Matt Gouldsborough. In this list, 16 players. He was on Soulblight Gravelords, and it's very much like we've talked about before. Neferata making a unit, Ignore Rend, a Vampire and Zombie Dragon in Legion of Blood with doomed minions, so making things hit on 2s, Cloak of Mist and Shadow, so it's ethereal, and then a unit of 10 Blood Knights, so they are having that buff put on them. A Corpse Cart in the list as well with +1 to cast, and 3 units of Death Rattle Skeletons in there as well, and they're amazing. We live streamed those. You can go watch them on the T Sports Network Twitch. We recorded those games and also live streamed those games if you want to go watch them back. Actually incredible watching those Death Rock Skeletons perform, to be honest. Really enjoyed it, so if you want to go check them out, please do. We didn't have any 4-1s, but we did have 3 in a draw. Matt Davies running, Derek Erickson, running a Zinch list with some cockatrices, and then Josh Jenkins running Big Nagash with some Bladegeist Revenants. So it was really fun just having a bunch of other players here. We had some brand new players at the event as well. I won't go into it too much. Toby was running an all Spiderfang army. So Toby Resnick, and he did his Spiderfang army did 212 wounds over the 5 games over the weekend, which was super fun. So yeah, lovely event, lovely people. I had a lovely time. Thanks everyone for coming. If you'd like to come to our events, we do have them. Go on Eventbrite and you can look at all the events that we have. It's free drinks all weekend. Hopefully you enjoy them. Thanks very much. Our final event is Seek Refuge from the Spring Showers event. This was in Brunswick, Ohio, organized by Dustin Smith. Shout out to Dustin. I think it was being held at the Diamond Event Center in Ohio on the Strip Mall, which is cool. And the event was won on our 5-0. It only had 12 players. And it was won by just someone who I love, Michael Rausch. With his OCR Bone Reapers. That's what they're called. I'm so excited. He was running crematoriums. That's what he was running. So it was a new book. What did he have? Liege Cavalos, Morton Ossifactor for +1 to Wound Bubble, and Arcan the Black. Right? Now he had a unit of 20 Mortek Guard, another unit of 20 Mortek Guard, and he had a Cavalos Death Riders 3 times, 3 units of 5, charging in, doing mortal wounds on the charge. But he was in the sub-faction crematoriums. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I know it's the very end of this video, it's the very end of this podcast, but this is so incredibly exciting. Every time you kill one of these on a 5-up, they do a mortal wound. Okay? So they've got #murder rolls. But this is where it's crazy, because you've got loads and loads of healing. Not only can Arcan put 3 back to 3 different units, or he can return 1 Death Rider model. The Ossifactor can also, I think, do some healing as well. But importantly, the Gothamsar Harvester in his army, for every model that's killed, can also put models back into units as well, which is amazing. When you kill a Death Rider model, they roll 3 dice on a 5-up, they die. They explode and they do mortal wounds back. It's amazing. No one's taken this. This has been the dream since the beginning of time, and he's 5-0'd with it. Perfect way to end the day. Perfect way. Thank you to Swaggy in the chat. Also shout out to Rick in 3rd place and Nolan Miller for going 4-1. Nolan, he took Gravelords, Soulblight Gravelords. Brilliant work. And that's it. That is the end of the stat show. The largest Age of Sigmar event a weekend to date, which is exciting. And I got to say, I cannot believe how incredibly powerful and exciting this weekend has been. It's been really cool. We have so many new battle tomes in the game right now. There is no way to predict the meta or talk about it, but some strong stuff is emerging. There's some really fun stuff to talk about. There's so many lists and ideas and counter lists and other ideas to think about, but it definitely seems like a couple of things are real. Number one, there's a lot of shooting. KO, very strong, doing very well. Also, in addition, Sinesh, lots of shooting, lots of Bliss Barb Archers. And there are other units, other armies doing shooting as well, whether that be mortal wound ranged output from like your Sylvaneth armies, or you're maybe going to see it from Seraphon soon when they get released. So that's interesting. We also have some really huge high armor save armies. Looking at Khorne, which sounds weird, I know, but it's true. OCR Bone Reapers, also Soulblight Gravelords, they've all been in effect this weekend. So you're in this really interesting place where you've got lots of range damage and lots of high armor saves. So that's really fun as well. Honestly, I could do a tier list today, and I think it would be different to the tier list I'd probably do in 2 weeks based on all the new and current books. I don't really have an answer for it, and which is why it's so fun doing these list reviews and talking about it all. So don't be too disheartened if you think your book isn't doing too well right now, or if or if you're not sure how to deal with some of these problems, the best way of going out and finding out how these things work is go to an event, play some games, and try to enjoy yourself. But there's definitely some stuff that needs discussing and maybe is too strong, but that we'll see how that turns out over the next few weeks. If you've enjoyed the show, please do like and subscribe. There we go. Listen to the podcast and join Patreon for The Honest Wargamer. Help support the show. That'd be awesome. We're in the Wild West. Don't forget, though, I know lots of people are going to be talking about 40k over the summer, but we've got 5-6 new battle tomes just out. We've got a new GHB coming. It's actually a hashtag Sigmar summer. So just get your Sigmar bodies out, get dancing, have a good time. Thanks for listening. See you guys soon.